what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're diving into the new point farming event, the 10-star 40 stamina event against YAMATO. Can I have a piece? And in today's video I have two teams for you guys, but really we have three runs. The second team can use either Luffy or Ace, the newest Sugo Fest exclusives, as your friend captain. But the first team utilizes Luffy. So that's the team, that's the support. Let's dive on in. Now, if you don't have that Raizo support from the Odin and Kinemon Dendro batch from literally a year ago, then don't stress. You can literally just stall a turn with Luffy, and that way you get your bind and paralysis removal that way. So it works out quite a treat. On the first two turns, we're basically just going to blitz our way through. But as I mentioned, if you don't have Raizo, just take a turn here. That's just going to give you Luffy's stage 3, I think it is. Basically, you'll have the 20 cumulative turns, and that way you can remove the bind with Luffy's captain, which is basically what you need if you don't have that Raizo support. With Luffy on stage 3, you can use Luffy special to remove the 3 turns of despair and attack down that gets inflicted. And then basically you're going to start up that 5 turns of the crazy orb buff, as well as get your chain multiplicative buff, as long as you hit 2 perfects every single turn. Now, on stage 3 as well, if you are worried about getting an orb, you can easily switch with CatDog on stage 2, and then switch into them on stage 3. Now, this team is technically a free-to-play team. I know CatDog is a legend and it's a 6+, but you can get them from PvP, and you could get their skulls for free, so I guess if you want to argue they kind of are a free-to-play, like, legend. But I do understand that they're not exactly, like, the most free-to-play option. However, they are very, very important for the final stage, as there's not a lot of boosted characters that can actually remove attack down. There are characters that can remove attack down, but the list is very slim, and these guys are just the best ones to do it. But we'll talk about that once we get there. On stage 4, you get 4 turns of paralysis and bind on your right-hand side, and the whole crew gets the paralysis. There's 5 turns of burn, and Yamato has a barrier as well as 4 turns of threshold. As you guys can see here, I haven't stalled and I just hit the 20 turns, but I'm on 18, so that way I don't get the bind removal, and then after the preemptive we get the extra 2, and that's why we just hit the 20 turns. To get around the paralysis, we're going to use the switch ability of CatDog, but before that, we're going to use our Yamato special, because she can remove 3 turns of bind and paralysis. Make sure to farm her up on the easy stamina, just bring as many point boosters as you can, and just like run it on auto, and you'll be absolutely hunky-dory. And then for the rest of this stage, we're actually just going to use everyone else's special, except for CatDog. Now, I totally forgot to use Jinbei on this particular run, but it didn't really matter because we had plenty of damage anyway. But on the final stage, you can only use 2 specials, and Jinbei works in the sense that you need to use double special activation. And because we need to use the CatDog special, we're kind of wasting it by not using it on that stage. So feel free to use Jinbei's special on stage 4 as well, and you'll have plenty of damage to kill. On the final stage, you get 5 turns of attack down. You can only use 2 specials. You get an attack down if you're below a certain chain, and you get 5 turns of chain coefficient reduction. With Yamato, you get the carryover effect of her chain shenanigan buff. And then if you use, well, you switch with CatDog, right? They're going to give themselves a matching orb, and then you can use their special for an attack boost and a color affinity boost to your cerebrals, your strikers, your slashers, and your powerhouse. Finally, with that, we're basically just going to tap our way through. Yamato also has an extra HP barrier, which is a little bit annoying, but as you guys will see here, it is no issue for Cat Viper and Dogstorm to absolutely tear shreds on poor old Yamato. So that's the first team, the free-to-play team in inverted quotations. Does the job fairly well, and if you're looking for a point-boosted team, if you don't have stuff like Onigashima Luffy, like Red Rock Luffy I'm talking about, or if you don't have any of the new batch at all, you will find great success with this particular team. So as for the next team, it's the same team for the next 2 runs. However, this particular team that you see on screen can actually get it done with both Luffy and Ace. So diving in first, we're going to use Ace as our friend captain, and that was the team that you guys just saw. Let's dive on in. Now, for this particular run, you do need that Raizo support. Unfortunately, there's no other supports that you guys can bring that can remove 1 turn of bind. So unfortunately, as I mentioned, you pretty much need that Raizo support to make this team operable. Otherwise, you can use the support of Ace on Luffy. That should definitely work as well. The Halloween Ace support to remove 3 turns of bind will definitely work. And I think there's a support for Sanji But I don't really know. Weirdly enough, this Sanji, the Film Red Sanji, is actually boosted for this event, which is so odd because none of the other Film Red characters are actually boosted. But the best part about him is he can actually remove Attack Down. And not only does he remove Attack Down, but he also removes Despair, which means on stage 3, where we normally use the Luffy special, we can actually just use this Sanji special. We do lose a lot of HP when we use his special, but we get a chain boost, and we get a adjacent orbs matching. We switch with CatDog on this stage too because we do need their switchability on the next turn. And once we move into that stage, we are going to receive 4 turns of bind, 4 turns of paralysis, 5 turns of burn. And then Yamato has a barrier as well as 5 turns of threshold. I think it's 4 turns actually after the preemptive. To remove the bind, once again, I said we have Raizo, or you can use Halloween Ace. And then after we switch with CatDog and then use the Yamato special, we can basically get around the rest of the bind and the rest of the paralysis. Finally, we're going to wrap it up with Ace's special and Ace's super type. Very, very important that we actually use both of those, because that is going to give us a nice chunky attack boost, a chain boost, and the new chain shenanigan that Ace can give. Plus, we can remove the burn with Ace's super type and get an attack boost to the team as well. Finally, we're going to use our Luffy special as well. Luffy's actually going to give us an attack boost and an orb boost because, well, we switched with CatDog, so we have the CatDog orb boost. But if you actually, like, if you don't switch with CatDog first, you can actually get an attack boost and an orb boost with the Red Rock Luffy special because you get the overrideable attack boost from Ace, and then you can actually use that to get a bigger Unga Bunga damage with Luffy. The overriding of the attack boost is so prominent with characters like this Luffy, for example. What's his name? Super Tandem Kid, Super Tandem Law, Final Tap Kid. All those characters that are like, if you have an attack boost, you get something else. Makes them so good when you can override it, because not only do you override it, but you get that extra buff as well, which is absolutely nuts. On the final stage, we're basically going to use our CatDog special. CatDog's absolutely incredible here because they can remove the attack down and the chain coefficient reduction. And then we can actually use the Nami special on the final stage as well for a chain boost, as well as a base stat boost. Now, if you guys don't have CatDog, you guys missed out on the skulls for whatever reason, you can use Luffy as a captain and then use this Sanji to remove the attack down on the final stage. But we'll talk about that in the next fight once we showcase how Luffy operates utilizing the same team. Alright, so diving in with Luffy now. Same team, same support. Let's dive in. As I mentioned, if you don't have Raizo, don't stress. Just use Halloween Ace on Luffy. It is another option, and it will definitely work for the bind. This particular team, whilst it's exactly the same as the one that you saw with the Ace Friend Captain, it does operate a little bit differently. And the reason it operates a little bit differently is because we want to be able to maximize the potential of Luffy. Now, this team doesn't remove burn, but it has a lot more damage on stage 4, so you don't have to worry about that at all. The upside to bringing a Luffy Friend Captain is that you can actually stall 1 to 2 turns if you need to. You really only need to stall you need to stall more than a couple of turns if you want the paralysis as well in the captain ability. But if you do have CatDog, you can easily just get around that without any issues by just switching with them. Plus, you have some other like paralysis removing supports with stuff like Izo and Kiku, if you do find a way to bring like one of the Whitebeard pirates, if you are missing Cat Viper and Dogstorm as well. On stage 3, we just pop the Luffy special, we get around the Despair, we get around the attack down, and we give ourselves the 5 turns of the orbs and the chain multiplicative buffs. And then on stage 4, to get around the nasty effects that Yamato gives, we're basically using the free-to-play Yamato. Make sure to farm her up, she's very, very good for stage 4. She's actually like just designed for it to get around those nasty defects. As I mentioned, the support of Raizo or Halloween Ace will happily remove that bind for you. Switching with CatDog can remove the paralysis as well. Again, you have Izo Kiku, you can use them as a support, or you can use any other paralysis removing support if you don't have CatDog. And then you can use Onigashima Luffy to give yourself an attack buff. You have an orb buff through Luffy, and then we're going to pop the super class as well as the special of Nami. The super class and the special of Nami is going to remove the threshold as well as give us a conditional boost. And as you guys will see here, even though we're burned, we need to hit 2 perfects, but literally that's all we need to kill. Like, we'll take the 30,000 damage, we have plenty of HP, and we are in very, very good stead to actually move on to the final stage. Now, on the final stage, we are going to come up against Yamato. Now, Yamato gives us chain coefficient reduction if we're below a certain... attack down if you're below a certain chain, 5 turns of attack down, you can only use 2 specials, and chain coefficient reduction. So again, if you have CatDog, they're so good here. However, if you don't, you do have this Film Red Sanji. And if you do have this Film Red Sanji and you need him to remove the attack down, you can just bring another unit that's not CatDog to either heal you, so that way you can use the double special of Sanji, or you can use another character that can remove attack down as well, like that Whitey Bay that I mentioned earlier. But the best way to do it is just to bring a healer or something like that, so that way you don't have to, or a barrier remover for the previous turn, so you don't actually have to hit the perfects. But that's going to wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If it helped you guys out or you enjoyed it, make sure to belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. But most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.